Am I allowed to vape?
Yes, you're allowed to vape. You can cuss. You can use all the non-TikTok appropriate words.
Cool, so I'm not as filtered.
No filters. You can't say the R word, like, the R grape word. That's about the only word you can't say.
Which word?
Grape with an R.
Oh, gotcha.
Welcome to Rock and Recovery. My friend Taylor right here. She's a Marine vet. First of all, she's also been in recovery for 5 years, I think. She's an amazing person. I miss the shit out of her, but I'm your host, Jay. This is my special guest, Taylor, and she's going to tell her story. So why don't you just jump into it, Taylor?
Okay, hi, I'm Taylor, and I'm an alcoholic. My dry date is November 11th, 2020. So we're creeping up on 5 years. I guess something that I've been pondering lately is alcoholism or addiction a genetic thing? Is it life circumstances? Is it truly a disease? Whatever your view on it is, I think it's important to kind of start from early on in life to see what led me to where I am now.
I agree, I 100% agree. I also think it's a side effect of the way we coped or how we fit in.
Yeah, exactly. So I watched a TikTok earlier, and there was a man talking about how addiction is the solution to a problem that we have, and I completely agree with that. I know why I drank, but I don't know if it was like a predisposition thing, because like my dad's an alcoholic. Like, did I pick that up from him? And my mom was strung out on meth for a good part of my childhood. So it's like, does that addiction come predisposed, or is it kind of our environment?
I think it's the way so if you're raised in it, I think it's normalization. So it's normal for uh, a child of an alcoholic or a child of a drug addict to continue that because it's normalized. They see their parents doing it and say, okay, it's okay. Or they go the exact opposite way and they say, okay, then I'm not going to be like my mom or my dad and just not do it at all,
Right.
because it's there, it's still there. That being used to it or being acceptable, a way of life is already ingrained because you were raised around it.
Yeah. And that's kind of where my view was when I was a kid. So um, I grew up in Texas for the most part. I lived with my mom, and around second grade, my dad got remarried. And the lady seemed really great at first. I was super stoked to have sisters. And I think that's the reason why I wanted to live with my dad so bad. Not really because of my dad. I was like, whatever, like, I miss you, cool. But sisters. And so my dad and my stepmom started trying to get custody of me and my little brother, when I was in fourth grade. And I I always knew that my dad drank. And then my stepmom was also drinking alcoholically at the time. So, like, their big thing in court was, well, mom's on meth. We need to take custody. And in the grand scheme of things, looking back, it's like, which one's actually better to deal with, you know? And um, so in fifth grade, I went to live with my dad. And this is where things like got really rough for me mentally, because as soon as I moved in with my dad, my stepmom like completely changed. She became very mentally and emotionally abusive. Um, like, to give an example, I was in DARE in fifth grade. Obviously, we all go through it, and my stepmom was looking through my workbook, and she's like, "Go to school and ask Officer Bigham what methamphetamines and amphetamines are. And I was like, okay, why? And she's like, because that's what your mom's doing.
Mm.
And so I went to school and I asked Officer Bigham what it was, and his face just fell. Like, he was so sad for me. And like, anytime I think of that, I'm so sad for that little girl. It's just like little mind games that I had to deal with. And like, I was never as good as my sisters. Like, I begged for chores because my stepmom was bitching that like we didn't do anything around the house and her girls had to do all the chores at their dad's house. And I was like, please give me chores. Like, please just be happy. What can I do to make you happy? And so, because of those kinds of things, I'm a people pleaser. Like, I'm still
Mm.
really working on it. I haven't healed from that. Um, but yeah, like never being good enough and always being told no. And that's another reason why I'm a people pleaser. I don't like saying no because I didn't like hearing it all the time. Like, I still get anxiety asking people questions. Like when Nana was having her get together this summer, I was really scared to ask her if I could be a part of it because of the chances she would say no.
Of course, Nana, she would never have said no. She's like, why? She would have been more like, why in the hell ain't you here?
Yeah, right. And I'm so glad I did ask her because I went and it was great. Um, but not just like dealing with the alcoholism at my dad's house. Before I moved to my dad's house, I was in drug houses while my mom used. It was my uncle's house, so it wasn't like a big deal for her. But I just
Right.
remember sitting there for hours with the swamp cooler going, with the rabbit ear antennas on the TV, uh, mostly watching Static and um, going arrowhead hunting for
Oh my.
hours on end. Like, I like rocks now, it's cool, but holy shit. In Carlsbad, New Mexico, when it's 110 degrees and you're out there arrowhead hunting because your mom's high as a kite, like, it was just a lot for a kid.
That is a
Uh,
lot.
and by eighth grade, I was just so mentally exhausted by my living situation. I was writing poems about suicide, cutting superficially. Like, I knew that it was like a cry for help. Like, I didn't want to die necessarily, but like I needed help and I wasn't getting it. And my stepmom would like turn everything against me and I would just be in trouble. So when my eighth grade history teacher picked up one of my poems that I was letting my friend read, I was like, please don't read it out loud. It's not a note. Like, please just don't. And she read it and she was so sad. And she gave it to the counselor, and I had to lie and say that I was feeling that way because of my mom, because I didn't want my stepmom to just lay into me and make it worse.
Right.
Um, And like there's a lot of stuff that happened in my childhood that like wasn't great, but like at the same time, like we played outside till the street lights came on and walked around the block. So I'm not saying like it was all bad or like all traumatic. But I think that dealing with that mental abuse definitely gave me really bad self-esteem. Um, and like I still feel like I'm the black sheep. Like I still don't feel like I quite fit in anywhere, um which I'm kind of coming to terms with now. Like, it's not as big of a deal. Like, I don't have to have 50 friends. I have a couple of good friends, and they're good quality friends, so that's what matters.
That's all that
uh,
matters.
yeah, like you just need the people in your life that are going to love you and support you no matter what, and that's all you really need. um so in eighth grade, when that incident happened, I told my mom about it. She came to eat lunch with me, and I was like, I just need to let you know I am feeling suicidal. I I lied and said it was because of you, but it's because I didn't want to deal with Tawny. And like she completely understood. And luckily, I was old enough that my mom took it to the court, and I was able to decide, yes, I want to go live with my mom. And so That might have been like the end of 8th grade. So now I'm like 13, 14 years old, living with my mom, uh, sleeping in her bed because I just like, I didn't want to be away from her. I needed her. Even though like I had been hurt by her before, because she had gotten clean and we ended up going to a drug house. Like I knew what was going on at that point, and I was so hurt by that. But by the time that she got custody back of me, she was clean at that point. Um, so then she remarried a few times throughout my childhood, but in high school, she married this dude, Ricky. We worked on hot stock race cars together, like the dirt track roundy rounds. I thought a carburetor was beautiful. Like, it was just like the coolest thing to do is like work on this car with him. And we were really close. And um, my stepmom, when I went to visit one time, was like upset that I wanted to leave because they were making my little brother cry over stuff she was saying about my mom. And I had quietly called my mom, but my younger sister told on me. And so my stepmom is like chasing me around the room, like circling me around like a boxing ring, threatening to beat me up. My older sister did fight me, and my dad let me wait on the side of the road for my mom by myself. He stayed inside
Wow.
his little family, and there I was by myself waiting for my mom to drive 20 miles to come pick me up. So I didn't talk to my dad for like a year and a half, and we lived 20 miles apart. And so I was really close with my stepdad, Ricky. And I think like my senior year, he had made a comment, well, your dad would just be better off if he killed himself. And like, I get that I don't have a relationship with my dad right now, but I lost all love and respect that I had for Ricky at that moment. And it made my living situation with my mom a living hell. Like, we just walked around the house ignoring each other. He would mumble stuff under his breath. Um, we moved out to the country and we had a couple of horses. And my mom's horse was more docile, but she was harder to catch. And I didn't have track practice that day or softball or work. So I just had like one day to just chill, which never happened. And so I was like, I'm going to ride today. So instead of getting Big Mama, the docile one, I decided to ride Tough. And he's like a little teddy bear. He just wants booty scratches, and he's easy to throw a saddle on, but he's a barn burner. So we were riding, and I rode maybe half a mile from the house and then turned around to come back, and he just took off running and planted his feet and just threw me off. And I tore my tricep off the bone. So I had to have surgery. And sorry, I'm coming back to like make it make sense. I slept on the couch the night that I had surgery because I was terrified of rolling over on my arm. And my stepdad stood at the doorway to the living room, like it goes into the kitchen right here. I could see him in the reflection of the TV just staring, pissed off that I was existing outside of my room, and like mumbling stuff under his breath. Can't sleep in your own fucking room, blah blah. And when I graduated high school, like I was going to college, and my mom said as long as I was going to school, I could stay at home. And like he started making me buy my own groceries, and like he was just a miserable person. And I'm so glad my mom finally was like, "Fuck that, we're out." But it was just another thing that was just so mentally draining to deal with at a young age, and still like tearing down my self esteem. So, by the time I was 19, almost 19, I started partying with the girl that I went to high school with. And at first, it was really like take it or leave it. Um, I would kind of drink here and there, but beer tasted gross. I don't think anybody had liquor that was like available for the party, so that wasn't an option. So I was drinking those little Smirnoff Ice
Yes.
drinks, but
Yeah.
nobody wants to buy those either because they're expensive compared to beer. And so I would just have like one or two and it was fine. But then obviously at some point you're going to try more to see what effect you're going to get from it. And at this point in high school, I think I drank once, maybe twice. So because I didn't want to be like my dad and my stepmom, I was like, I don't want to be an alcoholic. I'll never use drugs like my mom did. Like, I'm not going to be a part of that. And once I got used to the taste of beer, because it is an acquired taste, um, I started drinking pretty heavily because when I was drunk, I was outgoing, I was funny, I was prettier, like silly, witty, like all the things that I didn't feel like I could be not drunk. Like at parties, if I wasn't drinking, then I was kind of socially awkward. Like I seem like I'm pretty outgoing and extroverted, but it really depends on like the person I'm interacting with. Like if there's an introvert that I'm interacting with, it's just going to be an awkward interaction because I don't like small talk. Like, oh, the sky sure is blue today. Like, what the fuck are you talking about? I don't know. I have no idea. And if like you're not engaging with me, then I'm like, I'm gonna hop out of here because I got nothing left to give you. Um, so it made me more outgoing, and I had tons of friends that I was partying with, and it was great at first, right? Because it's like a whole new world opened up to you. When I say you, it's like a universal you, you know.
Yeah.
Um, sorry, one second.
No apologies. Take all the
You.
time you need.
Um, so things started to get pretty out of control with my drinking, probably within a year, to be honest. Um, but in my eyes, I couldn't be an alcoholic because I wasn't old. Like old
Mm,
people are alcoholics. I am just in my party phase. And so I was starting to get into a little bit of trouble, not like with the law yet. It was just like with the people I was partying with because I would drink to black out unintentionally. It just happened almost every single time I drank. Um, I remember one time, probably in 2013, I was going to college out of town, and me and this girl were just pulling on a bottle of vodka, like the cheapest bottle of vodka you could get that you could.
Burnett's.
I got all my pennies, and the dude who had to buy it for us was like, "I'm not buying alcohol with all these fucking coins. What the fuck?" And I was like, "What do you want us to do? We're in college. Like we don't have money." But we were pulling on this bottle of vodka and chasing it with Monster.
Oh my God.
And by the time we left to go to the pasture party, I could not stand up. Literally could not stand up. We got to the party. I basically fell out of the pickup,
Mm.
and I got jumped that night because I was super drunk running my mouth. Don't worry, the girls were all pussies. I had like maybe a bump on the top of my eye. I was like, whoa, I got jumped. Like, if you're gonna do it right. And I had the another girl from the basketball team because I was on the volleyball team. And one of the girls from the basketball team put me in her car, like trying to like help me out. And I was like freaking out. I don't know exactly because I was so intoxicated, but I ended up kicking her windshield and I cracked it.
Mm.
So now this is my first big consequence of my drinking. Like,
Right.
fuck all the people, whatever. Like, yeah, it was awkward, but now it's financially costing me because my mom is going to pay for it and make me pay her back.
Right.
And it was like $500. And I was like, why do I have to pay for it? This girl's parents are rich, blah, blah, blah. But I now have a serious consequence. And this was my first serious consequence. So I didn't stay up there for another semester. I moved back home, kind of running away from myself. This is the start of me running away from myself as well. And I fall back in with the same people that I had been partying with. And I was just still drinking extremely heavily. One night, this is not a bad story, it's just kind of funny. I was at a kegger and we're drinking a lot, and I, of course, got blackout drunk. And I wake up in this dude's bed the next day, and I'm like, why am I wearing your clothes and why am I in your bed? And he was like, well, what had happened was, he's like, I promise I didn't try anything. We didn't do anything. And he became one of my really good friends after that, because I would just like respected him so much for not
Yeah.
taking advantage. Um, but I was in the bathroom and he was trying to help me get my pants down so I could pee, and I was like, no, I got it, I don't need your help. And I ended up peeing myself as I'm trying to get my clothes off. So that's why I had to wear his clothes. I was like, oh, that makes a lot of sense, actually. I'm really sorry you witnessed that. um but yeah, just like stupid shit all the time. And then things started to get more serious. And I was still only drinking on the weekends, so I still wasn't an alcoholic. Um, Maybe a thirsty Thursday every once in a while, but I don't think we were quite there yet. Um, but I'm trying to kind of get my timeline together. I'm kind of all over the place,
You
but
take your time, Taylor. I've heard your story at least 3 times, and pretty much all of them have been with me in the room.
mhm.
So, you know, I know how it is. I know how shit gets confused, and you're an amazing individual. I am so glad you accepted an invite to come and tell your story on my podcast. I think you're an amazing person anyway. So go ahead.
Okay, cool. Like, do I have a time that I need to kind of stick?
You have it all day if it takes it.
Okay, cool. Then I'll just keep talking about myself because um so I started a job as a secretary at an oil field company. And I was happy to take this job because it was my high school volleyball coach's husband. He was my boss. And I had babysat for them when I was in high school. I loved my coach, I loved her so much. Um, but I was also a young female, and now there's this male giving me attention. And I see now, obviously, as I'm older, me feeding into it was wrong. Um, but at the time, I was looking at it fairly innocently. And like, I have a large behind, and he would tell me to turn around in my jeans so that he could look at my butt. And like, he's my boss. So, I mean, I don't want to tell him no. Again, I don't like saying no anyway, right? So it's like compounded of this man in power, and then I don't like to say no. So it started off really innocently like that, and then we were all drinking together as a shop, and I went to the bar, and he had gotten really drunk too. And we ended up back at there was a sales girl. We ended up back at her house, and actually back up because there was a pretty significant piece. There was one day at work, we were adding on to the building, and he was showing me that area, and we were dead sober. It was in the middle of the day. And I was like, oh, this is going to be a really cool space. And he like pushed me up against the wall and started kissing me. And I was like, what the fuck is going on? like, I love your wife. I'm sorry I flirted with you. Like, that was wrong on my part. But I was just like pushing him off of me. Like, what do I do? I'm a 19-year-old kid.
Right.
And again, this man in power. So it got nipped in the bud pretty quickly. But that was the first time that he assaulted me. And at the time, I don't think I viewed it as an assault because I just didn't know. Um, but then he escalated, and we ended up back at the sales girl's house after one night of heavy drinking. I think I was falling down drunk that night too, because I was wearing boots with the leather bottom, and the dance floor was slick, so I was like falling down drunk there too. And the cop was like, "She's got to go. Like, she's a minor. She's drunk." So we ended up back at the house, and I was so drunk I couldn't keep my eyes open. Um, and I woke up with his dick in my hand, and I was like, what the fuck is going on? And I was like, please stop touching me. I don't want this. And he was really drunk, and he was like, oh yeah, yeah. And I immediately passed back out, could not keep my eyes open. And then I woke up again to his dick in my hand. And I don't remember if he was touching me at that point, but I told him again, leave me the fuck alone. I'm sleeping. Nothing is happening. And passed right back out. Um, my mom made me get a rape kit done the next day. I didn't even want to tell her about it, but I just felt so small. Like, I'm glad that it didn't escalate to anything. Oh no, I'm sorry, I said the word.
You're okay.
Uh, but I had to get a kit done, and the asshole cop that took the report, because once you go get a kit done, they have to call the police. The asshole cop said, "Well, if you weren't that drunk, then this wouldn't have happened." And I was like, "No shit! Like, how many times do you think I've already told myself this?"
He made you feel
And
even smaller.
right, and now you're making me feel even smaller. Because now looking back, I can say, fuck you. It doesn't matter how drunk I am. Don't
Right.
fucking take advantage of me. Um, so I just never went back to work. Um, I talked to a lawyer, and the lawyer said it's going to be he said, she said, so we're probably not going to win. So I just didn't even pursue anything out of that either. Um, so there was just like no justice for me.
So throughout that all, you've got to feel like less than anything, especially when all these people around you, the cop, the people in power are saying, you know what, you shouldn't have been drunk, you know, and then a lawyer saying, he said, she said, we're not going to win. That makes you feel even less about yourself.
Right. And it's like diminishing my experience
Yeah.
and like my feelings about it. And it's just like a no win for me. Um, I wore really baggy clothes for a little while after that. I wasn't going out and partying. I didn't want to be around anybody. I kind of just like hid in my apartment for a while. Um, and then it got to the point where like I couldn't even live on my own anymore. So I just left that lease, broke that lease, and moved back in with my mom. Um, but once I started feeling better and it wasn't such a big deal, then I'm right back out drinking again. And I started spiraling into getting in trouble with the law. And um, I was out with my parents, my dad and my stepmom, and my grandpa. We were out at a barbecue cookout, and me and my stepmom were just pulling on this bottle of Canadian Hunter all day long. And it's like not even good whiskey, like we're just
That's
drinking.
bad stuff.
Actually, it wasn't that bad. I've had
No,
worse.
it's bad. That's
Yeah,
like Rebel Yell whiskey, it's just bottom of the barrel, cheap thrills, yeah.
Yeah, it was pretty bad. But we're drinking whiskey and Coke all day. And we were outside of the bar, so it wasn't like as big of a deal because I was a minor still, 19 or 20. And the cookout's over. We go inside because I was with my parents. The bartender did let me drink inside too. So we ordered a whiskey and Coke, and me and my stepmom were both like, can't even taste the whiskey in this, like, because we've been pouring triples all day. And at this point, it's just not doing what we want it to do. Um, I remember, so San Angelo is like a small city, and then right outside of town, there's a community called Great Creek. That's where like the ghetto people live. Um, and so we were outside of town. It's like 20 miles. Um, and we drove to town. I drove someone's pickup to town, and I was wasted. Like, I don't really remember driving, but I was like, I totally got it. It's not a big deal. So we drove to town to another bar and doing karaoke. I'm just shit faced talking to anybody that'll talk to me because I'm outgoing when I'm drunk,
Right.
but I'm also annoying. And I'm pretty sure that I was like the repeater.
Mm.
Because like with songs, I would put songs on repeat and people would be like, God, Taylor, like change the fucking song. And I'm like, it's a bop. Um,
Uh,
but yeah, I got even more intoxicated at this bar. And my dad and my stepmom were like, okay, dude, like we're old. It's time to call it a night. And I was like, okay, cool. So we go back out to Great Creek. And I don't remember a lot of this part. But the story I got was my stepmom was just trying to get me in bed. And um, I was like, no, I want to leave. Like, I want to go back to town. And she's like, you can't drive. I beat the fuck out of her, dude. Like,
mm.
dragged her down by her hair and got on top of her and was just beating the shit out of her. And she's like, not hitting me back. My dad, she's screaming for my dad. Um, I will say it was justified just because of the years of abuse that I put up with her. So she had it coming. Um, I think that was just like all that pent up rage that I had.
Right.
Not justified. It was just in my head, like all
Right.
of these emotions coming out after years of abuse. And so they called the cops, and luckily she didn't press assault charges on me. But that was the first night that I got arrested for public intoxication because I didn't live there. It was public intox. And went to the drunk tank, sat there for 6 to 8 hours, and then my mom came and got me, and she was like, not that mad at me because again, bitch had it coming. Um, she's like, I'm actually kind of proud of you, and I was like, thanks, mom. Like, I stood up for myself. I didn't want to go to bed. Fuck that bitch. um, so that was my first run in with the law, and it changed absolutely nothing.
Mm.
I'm still out there partying, and um, I got arrested again a few months later from the bar that we all went to. And my mom and my brother were pulling up as they were putting me in handcuffs, and my brother was like, no, we're here, like we can take her home. And the sheriff deputy is like, nah, fuck that, she wouldn't shut her fucking mouth, like she's going to jail, she kept running her goddamn mouth. So
Had
I
that
was
happen
like,
a few times.
yeah, if I could just shut up, but I'm
Yeah.
just over there talking shit for no reason.
Hmm.
um Went to jail again for public intox, and I was like, okay, I need to do something. Actually, I think I had already talked to a recruiter for the Marine Corps at this point because I was like, I need to get away from myself because I had literally spent my last dollar on alcohol. And I was like, this isn't normal. Like, I need to get out of this town because it's this town that's the problem. All there is to do
Right.
is drink. So I had talked to a Marine Corps recruiter and had started the process of joining. I was just out of height and weight standards because, you know, alcohol makes you gain quite a bit of weight. And I wasn't working out. So I was like working on losing weight before I could go to boot camp. And I was supposed to leave in November of 2014, but they had a spot come open for August. And I think I got arrested my second time in July. So now my recruiters are like scrambling, trying to make sure that I can still go to boot camp the next month. And they talked to the judge for me. And the judge was like, as long as she finishes boot camp, then like I'm not going to pursue harsher punishment. And so August 10th, 2014, I went to boot camp. And this is the longest that I've ever been sober um, from the time that I really started. And at this point, I'm only 21. And um, it was just already so out of control. And again, I didn't start drinking till I was almost 19. So it's like in 2 years, I'm already burning my life to the ground.
Yeah.
Uh, so I kind of needed that dry time, whether I knew it or not. But I kicked ass at boot camp. Um, and I graduated in November of 2014 and went to combat training and then went to MOS school, which is like your job school. And so boot camp is 3 months, combat training's like a month, month and a half, and those times you can't drink at all. So I drank on leave between boot camp and combat training, but it was very minor. Like I had a beer for the Marine Corps birthday by myself, um, and then got drunk with my dad on the way to take me to the airport, just drinking road beers because that's normal for him anyway. And then I get to combat training, I'm dry again. But my first question that I asked one of my instructors once we got a little more comfortable, I was like, so at MOS school, can I drink? And he's like, well, are you 21? And I was like, I am. And he was like, then I guess it would be up to your instructors. Like, I don't think that you're not allowed to. And I was like, fucking tight. That's all that matters. So I get to my MOS school in North Carolina, and it's December. It's fucking cold. Um, and I get shit faced hammered out in town. I didn't sign out of the logbook. I didn't take a Liberty Buddy. I went out with one of my friends from home who was now also a Marine. He was just like a year ahead of me. And
Right.
he was stationed in North Carolina. And I was like, home, someone from home. I partied with him. We can hang out. And I got obliterated, probably without even trying, because, you know, shots sneak up on you. And I'm like drinking beer on the side too. And we started at the bar and then we went to the movie theater and I'm talking shit to his friend. His friend is from like Pakistan or something where it's more common to lay hands on a woman to keep them in line. And that dude was about to beat the shit out of me. And my friend Whitfield was like, just shut the fuck up. Let's go watch this movie. So we go into the movies and I went to the restroom and then couldn't find the movie theater that I was supposed to be in to finish the movie because I was so drunk. I was like, I don't know which one to go in. So I went into the wrong movie and my phone died and Whitfield had to leave me because he had to be back on base at a certain time. So now here I am out in town not signed out of the logbook, no Liberty Buddy, and I found a charger or something, or got my phone working, and the duty staff NCO is calling me. Where the fuck are you? Because my platoon had been in formation outside in December for 2 hours waiting on me. Where the fuck is Robbins? And so the duty came and picked me up, and I was like, what's going to happen to me? And she's like, honestly, you're probably going to get NJP'd, which is non-judicial punishment. And that's kind of a big deal. You can get kicked out for it. You typically don't on like your first offense, depending on what it is. And luckily I did not. But I did get NJP'd, and I wasn't allowed to get promoted when the rest of my peers are getting promoted. I'm stuck as a private for 6 extra months. Um, and I was put on restriction. So that meant that I had to check in with the duty staff NCO every 2 hours. I had to stay in camis. I could not wear my civilian attire. I was locked down to the barracks. I could come out to do like cleaning. We had little chores that we had to do as part of restriction. And then after that, it's back to your room. Like you're locked down to the barracks. And I couldn't drink. So it's the end of my time at MOS school. I got my orders. I was going to Okinawa, Japan. And I was super pumped about it. I was like, I get to get out of the States. I get to go see the world. And I jeopardized it again. My platoon, not my platoon sergeant, but like one of my staff NCOs let me go out to dinner with my platoon in civilian attire, like kind of let me off the restriction like a day or two early. And I got drunk that night. And luckily I didn't get in trouble, but it was just like, why is it not clicking that this is obviously a problem? And so I get to Okinawa, and everything's still going the same. Like I'm still drinking really heavily. My first time, like when you first get to Okinawa, you're stuck on base for like a month basically. And as soon as I got off base, went to a bar out in town and asked for a double Jameson and Sprite. And the bartender's like, I gave you a triple. And I was like, you're trying to kill me. It's fine. But I wasn't getting in any trouble. So everything was normalized. Like I'm just meeting all kinds of new Marines to hang out with. And there's not a lot of female Marines compared to male Marines. So like my whole friend group was like this Hispanic group of people and Puerto Rican, and like they were great. And this is my first time being exposed to different cultures besides white and Hispanic. And so I was like, man, this is really awesome. Like I'm just friends with all kinds of people now. And but I was still very functioning. Like I would still get up at 3:30 in the morning to go to my McMAP course. McMAP is like the martial arts program for the Marines. It really teaches you how to get your ass kicked. I don't know if I learned a lot to really take care of myself.
It teaches you how to take a punch, huh?
Yes. Get thrown around a little. But I would wake up at 3:30 to be down at the PT field by 4. And so I'm still functioning. Everything's fine. And I'm still getting a perfect score on my combat fitness test, first class on my physical fitness test. Like everything's still going really great as far as me being a Marine. Like I was really good at being a Marine. And then one night I peed in my trash can because I couldn't figure out how to open the bathroom door. And my roommate was like, bro, fuck that. I don't want to be your roommate. So then I'm like kind of starting to get back in trouble a little bit. Like my master sergeant was like, what the fuck are you even doing? And I was like, I don't even know at this point. Um, and then I had like a liberty violation, which is a very big thing in Okinawa. Like you have to be back on base by midnight. And there's a logbook at the gate. They take your ID, they write it down, they write down what time you got back. Um, and luckily, I got out of that liberty violation. Like I was on base on time. I just didn't take my liberty card back to the barracks to go back down the hill to the bar because I was out at the bar and then I came back to go to the bar on base. And I was like, I'm not walking all the way up the hill to take my liberty card. Like the logbook tells you what time I got here. So like it was by the skin of my teeth I got out of that one. And then in 2016, my mom was having some pretty serious health issues, and she had a pulmonary embolism, and she was in the hospital. And I love my mother. I do. I love her so much. She's kind of a hypochondriac, or like makes things bigger than they really
Right.
are.
Blows
And
things out of proportion.
yes. So she kind of blew it's a pulmonary embolism is serious, but she kind of made it seem worse than it was. So I thought she was dying. And so I was granted emergency leave. And I took out a loan through this relief society that the Marine Corps has. Maybe all branches, I don't know. Um, but I took out a loan with them. There's no interest. They just take it out of your paycheck each month until it's paid off. But that was like $1,400 because it's expensive to fly round trip from Japan to the States. The day that I land, I believe in El Paso, my mom was getting out of the hospital. And instead of being grateful that my mom was okay, I was pissed off because you're getting into what I'm doing, like you're fucking up my plans. And now I'm out $1,400. And it was all about me. I was very selfish and self-centered at this point. And so she was living by Alamogordo, New Mexico. And I went out drinking instead of staying at home with her. Um, and then the next day, I was like, well, I'm going to go to San Angelo and see dad. And she's like, what the fuck? Like, you're here to see me. Like, I'm not doing well. And I'm like, you're fine. You're out of the hospital. Like, you're fucking up my drinking time. Um, so I went to San Angelo, which is like a 7-hour drive. And while I'm in San Angelo, I go to the bar and there's all these people that I used to party with and they haven't seen me in like a year and they're all so excited and buying me shots. And so now I'm blackout drunk from all these shots. And you know, on overpasses on highways, how it has like that concrete
Yeah.
dip or like incline?
Yep.
Well, I was walking from someone's apartment. I had gotten physically aggressive with one of my friends, Ryan. I think I slapped him in the face or something. And the owner of the apartment was like, no, we're not having that. You need to leave. And so we walked, I don't know how far. It's late. I go up this incline and then I'm too drunk to get back down. So I'm scooting down this concrete incline. And I wake up the next morning with road rash on my butt cheeks because of me scooting down this incline. And I was like, what the fuck is going on with my life right now? Um, but that night, I got arrested while home on emergency leave, while active duty.
No.
It was a shitstorm. I couldn't remember my dad's address because they had moved to my grandparents' house. Like, I knew exactly how to get there. I knew the road. I did not remember the address. And the the cop, she was a female cop, she was like really wanting me to remember it, like, just remember the address, I'll take you home, I'll take you home. And I couldn't. And she's like, because you can't remember it, I have to take you to jail. And so here I am, my third time getting arrested for public intoxication. And this time it's serious. And my master sergeant called me and he said, um, if you get recalled by the battalion commander from E-leave, you will get NJP'd and you will be processed out. So I am just praying, God, please bail me out one more time, one more time. And I luckily did not get recalled. I finished my leave, went back to Okinawa, and my first sergeant, so I was Lance Corporal Robbins. I had a first sergeant Robbins. So I was like, he's my dad. We're cool. We're going to dab it up. And he really did take care of me in this moment. He was like, you're fucking dumb, but let's figure out how to get you to not get NJP'd. He was like, I used to be a cop before the Marine Corps. You were out past curfew, right? Like you were supposed to be in at a certain time and that's why you had to go to jail. Like you weren't that drunk. And I was like, no, I really wasn't that drunk. I was just out when I wasn't supposed to be. So really because of first sergeant, the battalion commander didn't NJP me. He was just like, we're going to do a commander furred outpatient program. And I had already done an outpatient program with the Marine Corps. I forgot to mention that. I was command referred to an outpatient program, but this one was an intensive outpatient program. And I remember just being like so devastated and like stressed out because of the circumstances that I had created for myself. And I was showering and just begging God to take away alcohol from me. I was like, you took meth away from my mom. Like my mom explains it like she just prayed it away and God took it from her. She never craved it ever again. And I'm like, why the fuck can't you do that for me? Like, just take it away. And I ended up drinking one more time. And then on April 16th, 2016, I decided, okay, no more drinking. And I found an AA group that I really liked. And instead of going into the meeting, I think this is so important for people who maybe aren't convinced that they're alcoholics or addicts or don't really want to hear what other people have to say because, oh, you have it worse off than I do. I really had to go in with an open heart and an open mind and not listen for differences in our stories, but listen
Similarities.
for similarities.
Yeah.
And like that was the key for it. But I did get sober and I was 3 months sober when I started that intensive outpatient program because there was just a wait to get me in. But I could already see just in those 3 months waiting for that program a huge difference. And I was really working the program. Like I got a sponsor immediately, worked the steps immediately, and honestly, I just did whatever Amanda told me to do. It was do or die at this point. And I really recognized that. I was like, okay, alcoholics can be any age, shape, race, whatever. It could happen to anybody. And so I really worked the program and I, in 2017, moved duty stations back to the States to Quantico, Virginia. And I bought my first car ever by myself. It was a little Jeep Patriot, and I was really proud of it and proud of myself. While I was still in Okinawa, I met my daughter's dad. I was a year sober when he and I started dating. So he had never seen me drunk ever. And he didn't understand it, like why I didn't drink even occasionally. And it bothered me so bad when he would drink around me because I was like, how dare you drink normally and I can't drink at all? And I had already mourned the loss of alcohol. Like, literally, one of my first meetings, sat there and bawled my eyes out. Like, who am I without alcohol? How am I going to meet people? How am I going to talk to people? And it really was my best friend that I just lost forever. In my eyes at the time, it was forever, which felt so big and so heavy. Um, but um, my daughter's dad and I got married November 2017. It was a very fast relationship, but I was sober and I was doing so well and I was ready to be a mom and be settled down. Um, he said that he was ready and he wanted to be married and single. And I found that out when I was a month pregnant with my daughter.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, I'm just going to have to stick it out from here. Um, and then he PCS'd, changed duty stations to Quantico as well, um, at the beginning of 2018, I believe. And I don't know, like I was still doing just the next right thing, just trying not to drink. I wasn't making as many meetings because I had moved, obviously a big move, and the meetings just weren't the same. They didn't feel the same. And I had gotten a new sponsor, and I explained that to her, and she said, well, it's not where the miracle happened. You just have to find the right meeting that you feel fulfilled at and just accept that it's not where the miracle happened. So if anybody ever does go through a big move after getting sober and you're like, man, this just doesn't feel the same, it's not where the miracle happened. It's not going to be exactly the same. Um, um, so I wasn't making as many meetings, and that was obviously a choice. But I was like fully submerging myself into a church. Like I was volunteering on Sundays, taking my daughter. George wasn't really a Christian, and at the time that was really important to me. So that was like another thing that we were kind of butting heads about, because I was like, you said that you were a Christian, and now all of a sudden, like, you won't even go to church with me. So like things are starting to kind of deteriorate more. But I found out when I was a month pregnant that he was messaging another girl on Instagram, like calling her sexy, sending hard eye
Oh
emojis.
yeah,
And I was just like, that's cheating. Like, you didn't fuck
it
her,
is.
but you're talking to her very inappropriately. It's cheating. And so we worked through that. He came to the States. We moved to an apartment, had my daughter. I'm still sober, doing what I need to do. When my daughter was like 5 months old, I went back to school full time. Um, and like I was like working my ass off because I wanted to get into a nursing program. So I got my associates with the 3.8 GPA, applied for the nursing program.
Congratulations.
Thanks. I'm not
You're like,
very good right
thanks.
now.
3.8? That's freaking high, Taylor.
Well, my GPA right now at university is like a 1.2 because I keep
Well, we
fucking
won't
up.
talk about that part.
Um, it's because I keep getting overwhelmed with life and letting it
Yeah.
rule my life, but I'll get there. Um, but I got accepted to nursing school. But before that, my now ex-husband George, um, Autumn was like 9 months old, and George and I had gotten into an argument, and I was like, just go stay at the barracks for tonight. Like, let's take a beat, and then when we can communicate respectfully, we can come back and talk it out. That man came home the next day with a big ass hickey on his neck.
Mm,
I was like, you are fucking bold, dude. And he's like, I promise we didn't have sex. I was really drunk. And I was like, that
mhm.
doesn't fucking matter. And if it was hot and heavy enough for you to get a hickey, I'm pretty sure you fucked her. Like, whether that, it doesn't matter. You still came home with a hickey on your neck.
Right.
Um, but I stayed. My daughter was only 9 months old. I wanted to keep my family together so bad. And I stayed for another almost a year. And in January 2019, I started my nursing program, but I was just like mentally drained from trying to put in all of my effort into making my marriage work. And um, it got to the point where I just had nothing left to give, and I wasn't getting, like, you fucked up and I'm putting in all this work, and it didn't work in the end. And so January 2019, I told him I wanted a divorce. I was still figuring out, like, am I going to stay up here in Virginia and finish nursing school? What is that going to look like? I was also working at Texas Roadhouse. Um, so I was just trying to figure out, okay, what's my next step? And then in February, I lied. This is 2020. Yeah, this was January 2020. Because then in February, at the very beginning of February, maybe the end of January, I went into the ABC store to get George a bottle of vodka, and there was a little airplane bottle of Jameson staring at me.
Mm.
And I was like, I'm just gonna buy it and look at it. Like, it'll just be there. I'm not
It'll
gonna
just
use
remind
it.
me of what I don't want to do.
Right. Like, it's not gonna be a big deal to have it in the house while I'm feeling all these big emotions and not
Right.
going to meetings. And so that night I drank the airplane bottle of Jameson, but that wasn't enough because now we've kickstarted my alcoholism, and it was
Right.
in the background doing push-ups, waiting for me to go back out.
Yeah.
It was getting stronger, and I had heard that so many times in meetings that it's in the background doing push-ups, waiting for me to go back out. And um, I drank that night, went to the bar without George because we were separated, just still living in the same apartment. And I made that very clear, like, we are not together. And so I went to the bar, got blackout drunk, Ubered home. Thankfully, at this point, like, I'm not driving drunk. I'm Ubering. Uber is a thing now. And poor George, he had never seen me drunk. He had never seen me drunk until this moment. And all the next day, I'm throwing up, just throwing up. And he helped me get in a bath. And because I'm feeling so miserable, and now I'm feeling horrible about throwing away 3 years and 10 months of sobriety, which meant so much to me. And but not enough for me to do what I needed to be doing to stay sober, right? And so um I was in a full-blown relapse at this point. I left George on Valentine's Day 2020 and loaded up my car with all the shit that I could fit in it, put Autumn in there, and we headed to Texas. And um I stayed drinking for the better part of 2020. Um, I'm not, now I don't beat myself up over it. Obviously, when it first happened, I was like, I had 3 years and 10 months. Like, I would be
Right.
9 years sober today had I not picked
But
up.
what's the difference between 9 and 5? Nothing.
Right. And that's where my mentality was at the beginning. It was like, the more time you have, the more important you are. And it's like, no, now I know
No.
that even if you have 25 years sober, we're just out here trying to make it another day.
Yeah. There's only 24 hours in a day.
Yeah.
And for normal people, they sleep at least probably 6 to 8 of those. you know, and us abnormals, might sleep 2 or 3 of those,
Maybe 5 on a good day.
maybe 5 on a good day.
But time at that point meant so much to me, and I put time over like quality, I guess.
Yeah.
And
You thought the longer you were in it, the stronger you were in
right,
recovery. It's like, oh no, I have 3 years. Oh shit. What did I just do? Instead of, okay, oh well, start over. You still get the clean time, they say. I I believe that because you've been clean. Yet, you still have to start that date over because it's not continuous days.
right. And that's what was just killing me is starting back over at day one, and I couldn't string together a day one.
Oh,
And I just drank alcoholically for the better part of 2020. And now I can say that I am thankful that I went through a relapse, because I'll get into like the recovery aspect of it, but on like a personal level, um, I got a Jameson tattoo um, from my husband. Um,
that's awesome.
that was the first tattoo he did on me. It's on my wrist. It says the name A2. It means without fear, and it's on the Jameson family crest.
That's awesome.
And so I was like, okay, I'm going into this new chapter of my life where I'm now filed for divorce. Um, and I have to move forward without fear. I have a daughter to take care of. I have to figure out what my life's going to look like. Um, but my husband, Michael, he goes by Doc because he was a corpsman in the Navy. So he was attached to the Marines. He's basically a Marine, even though he won't acknowledge it. But like, we love Doc. And so uh, he had messaged me a few days after my tattoo to check on it. And I was like, no tattoo artist has ever texted me about how my tattoo's doing. So he was into me. He was not. He wasn't into
He is now.
me. Yeah. Yes. But he was not looking for any kind of
Right.
relationship. Because he had just gone through a breakup too with his youngest daughter's mom. And so we were just both broken messes. And we were just messing around. And then we started dating. But he broke up with me like every Monday, dude. And it was because I was a drunk asshole and I'm picking fights, picking arguments while I'm drunk. And so by Monday, he's like, fuck that.
I've
Like,
had enough. Had enough.
I'm not dealing with it.
Yeah.
But then we would work it out and get back together. So it was just like really off and on for a few months. And then November 2020, maybe the end of October, we had broken up again and it seemed a little more final. And for me, that was enough to be a rock bottom, because rock bottoms always look differently, right? Like my first one was almost getting kicked out of the Marine Corps, losing all my benefits, losing my career. I loved being a Marine. So that was my rock bottom then. And then this one, maybe not quite as low. So, I mean, it could look different for everybody. Um, but I gave myself the Marine Corps birthday. I had never drank on the Marine Corps birthday because I was always trying to get sober or in sobriety. Um, thank God, because if I drank at a Marine Corps ball, can you imagine how big of an ass I would have made myself in front of my entire battalion?
I believe that 100%. You would have been
Yes.
the asshole Taylor.
Or I would have been the twerk queen in my fucking blues, making a complete ass of myself in front of God and everybody. I was just like, thank God. So I gave myself the Marine Corps birthday 2020, November 10th. And I was like, I'm not going to drink past midnight so that my actual sobriety date can be November 11th. And I
Right.
stuck to it. My friend Jordan, um, she made sure I did not drink whiskey because I said if I drink whiskey, it's just going to go south really fast. And so I didn't drink whiskey that night. Took a few birthday shots, but mostly stuck to beer. And then by like 11, I was like, okay, I'm going home. I drove drunk home, but um, November 11th, I woke up and I was pissed off that I was at day one. Pissed off. I went to an AA meeting. I knew where to go. I knew exactly where to go. And I just sat there with my arms crossed, just fucking pissed that I was at day one. I was like, I had over 1,000 days and I just fucking threw them away. And here I am back at day one, back with the cravings, back with the shame and the guilt of the wreckage that I've caused in
So
the
you went on
months.
a relapse bender, basically,
I
like a
did.
9 month bender.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. And you say November 11th is your 5 year anniversary. Yeah, that's like in 2 weeks right now.
I know, it's crazy.
How does that feel coming up?
I always get super excited when my sobriety birthday's coming up, because it's like it's just a milestone. It's another year,
Right.
and so time in a way is still important to me, but it's not in the way of like it dictates the quality of my sobriety. Like I have time, so I shouldn't be acting this way or feeling this way or getting random cravings on a Tuesday. Um, because cravings for me still randomly come up. Um, it's just now knowing that I
You
don't
have the
have to drink
tools
over
to
it.
you have the tools and the new coping mechanisms to cope with it. And throughout this last year, I've known you for the last year, and you've been such a up and down person. I'll be honest, you've been up and down. I've seen you at your lows, I've seen you at your highs, and all I can say is you do amazing things, Taylor. And
Thanks.
Doc is awesome. I love Doc too. Mike, he's awesome too. The things that you guys did for the tattoo, free tattoos, charity tattoo thing for the flood victims, that was awesome. You
Yeah.
know, you two are special in my life. So thank you for being in my lives.
Yeah, for sure. And I think it's important to touch on like what recovery is and what it does, because whether you're working in a program, NA program, no program at all, you have to find what is going to feed your soul, because now we've taken away this drinking problem or using other substances, and I'm still here. I have realized that I drank because I had no self esteem. Um, I couldn't cope with big emotions. I wanted to numb my feelings. And today I have, I'm still working on truly loving myself, but at least I like myself enough to put in the work. Like I work on myself constantly. Like I'm not perfect by any means. Um, I I just I changed my whole belief system. Like my higher power is now the universe. It just works for me. Um, and I'm really tapped into like energies and things like that. Like I don't do all the crystals and things like that, but and I mean if you do, cool, that's great. I just resonate with that. Um, but it was just getting down to really healing those things about myself. I still work on them. I still work on my insecurities. My husband's a tattoo artist. Like, um, he tattoos sensitive areas every once in a while, and or a really hot chick that I'm like, oh, that makes more sense than us, or like whatever in my head,
Right.
like getting insecure about. And so, um, I fully believe that you have to heal yourself from the inside out to have a good quality recovery, and find what community, because you can't do it on your own. You got yourself here, and look what your decisions did, right? Like what did my decisions, where did my
Really.
best thinking get me?
So throughout all of this, I know you deal with, like you said, you deal with your cravings, you deal with all these anxiety and not the still the self doubt feelings and the not being enough feelings. How do you cope with those?
Um, I read a lot, like workbooks and things like that, like where I'm actively writing things out and getting down to like the root of what the feeling is. If I have big emotions that come up now, I typically don't react out of emotion. I did this weekend. I will own that. Um, I
Who'd you get mad at?
my husband
Oh, I knew you were going to say Doc.
and so I reacted out of anger. Like I'm not perfect. I know that. But I do really try to be like a calm zen energy, and I love when people recognize that because I've worked so hard to get there. And I just sit with my feelings. And normally, when I'm talking with someone and I have a big emotion, I can say, hey, I can't communicate about this respectfully right now. I need to take a beat and then we can come back and revisit it.
Right.
Um, that's not to say that people don't test my inner gangster. Those, like, I'm still here, I'm still me. And like with cravings, um, because there were such big emotions this weekend, I did get a craving. And I was like, I can just drink and not fucking feel anything that I'm feeling right now. And it was fairly fleeting. But I hopped onto TikTok and got into a recovery live. I told on myself immediately, like, hey, I'm going through it. I'm thinking about drinking. um, I was brought up in a box and I cried a little and talked it out. Um, but I think with the craving, it's just acknowledging that it's there and then saying, like, I literally envisioned the word alcoholism and envisioned myself burying it. I was like, get the fuck back in the background where you belong.
Right.
You're not at the forefront of my thoughts. Like, I still have to, no matter what goes on, like I still have to be right with myself, and I have to be the best mom that I can be, the best wife that I can be, the best friend that I can be. Um so just acknowledge, like, okay, I see you. I don't try to like push it down, because when you're pushing it down, it's just going to bubble back up.
Here's another tool you might be able to use sometime. They say that if you repeat the same thing, whatever it may be, for 7 seconds, which is a very short time,
Mhm.
with for 7 seconds, it's like, I'll be okay, I'll be okay. For 7 seconds, it changes your whole thinking, and you will start to actually believe that you're going to be okay, instead of, when you're thinking about, I'm going to relapse, I need this alcohol, you're constantly thinking about it. It's constantly in your head. So if you start to say something, say, I don't need it, I'm be okay, and you do it for 7 seconds, it'll change those thoughts.
I'm going to try that next time, like I'm having a big emotion or whatever, because I'm all about like whatever tools I can get to make me
Yeah.
less crazy,
Yeah.
because we're all crazy in our own way.
We're all crazy in our own way. We're all recovering from something, whether it be life, addiction, just life.
And
you
life
know,
has been life, and dude. And that's another thing that you have to recognize in recovery is life is still going to happen on life's terms, and you just have to figure out a way to accept it and turn it over to your higher power. And I'm bad about that because I'm the type of person where I shoulder the weight of things and I try to handle them by myself. But I notice that if I'm feeling squirrely or miserable, I'm like, oh, okay, I don't have to do this. I can give it to my higher power. Duh. Hello. Like, they've been there the whole time. And like another thing that I think is common with addicts is like we try to control people, places, and things. Like, if you would just act the way I wanted you to act, then
yep,
we wouldn't have a problem.
Right. We
And
we
like,
absolutely project and blame a lot.
yeah, and like when I'm trying to control things, um, I have actually done some reflecting on this lately. It's like, okay, where is this coming from? And it's typically an expectation that I've put on someone else. And then I'm setting myself up for a resentment, and I can't afford resentments today. So I have to really look at my side of the street and be like, okay, what can I do differently for myself? Like, do I need to remove myself from a situation or from people? And it's just all these tools that you pick up in sobriety and recovery to deal with life as it happens. Because I don't have a drinking problem today, but I have a thinking problem. And
Absolutely.
where are my thoughts going to take me if I leave them unchecked?
Yeah. So, uh, what does recovery mean to you in the sense of, in a broad sense, what does that mean? What does your future hold for you? What does your future recovery look like?
So recovery has changed for me over the years. I used to go to AA religiously. It's kind of not where I feel at home right now, so I haven't really been going to meetings. But for me, it's it's TikTok recovery. But like I get tired of being on my phone or whatever, so it's really just continuous work on myself. Um, I just want to be the best version of myself. So when I am praying, I ask my higher power to um, guide me throughout my day, help me be a light in other people's lives, like whoever I encounter in that day, let me be a light in their life. Um, I just want to be the best version of myself. Help me to be funny, silly, witty if I'm going into public places where I'm uncomfortable with people. Like, help me be outgoing because
Right.
I can't do any of it by myself. Um, I think something that's come up lately that I've kind of heard in the community is like there's a difference between sobriety and recovery, and I think the words are like interchangeable. So I feel like
Very.
whatever works for you, it works for you, you know?
Absolutely. It doesn't matter what type of recovery it is. If you're doing the next right thing, that's number one. You're
Yeah.
doing, and you know you're doing it, and you're not harming anybody, and you're helping people do the next right thing, and you're off your drug of choice. Who cares?
Yeah.
Really, honestly, who cares?
It's just a word,
Yeah,
essentially. It's what work are you putting behind it?
right.
Because work without action or words without action are just words,
Just words.
and you're not actually getting better. You're not actually um, getting a solution to whatever problem you're in. But because that's really what it is. Like I said at the beginning, the alcohol or the drug of choice was a solution to a problem. It wasn't
Yeah,
the problem. It
right.
became the problem in my life, obviously, with all of the bumps in the road that I hit. But it's like, what solution do I want today? What outcome am I trying to achieve?
Absolutely. And here's another thing. If somebody is judging, and not you or anybody else, but in general, if somebody's judging another person's recovery, then there's something that they resent or they're jealous of.
Mhm.
There's something that they're not satisfied in themselves with. If somebody's judging another person for what appears to be their recovery, then they better take a closer look in the mirror and figure out why they're so unaccepting of that person.
Right. And recovery looks so different for so many people nowadays, like with the MAP program, Cali Sober. Um, and it really is your journey. Like, what
Yeah.
does sobriety look like for you?
Yep.
What works for you is going to work for you. whatever keeps you off of your drug of choice keeps you off of your drug of choice. Um, I
And
just,
when we start working a program for other people's and we try to live up to other people's expectations, that's when we lose. That's when we start losing, because then it becomes too much of a stress for us as an addict to try to live up to somebody else's expectations
mm-hmm,
when we have a hard enough time living up to our own, you know? So when all these other people are saying, "Ah, you should do this, you should do that, you need to do this, you're doing it the wrong way," whose life are they living?
and also who says that there's a right and a wrong way? We're
The only
just out
person
here
that,
trying to make it another day.
yeah, the only person that can tell any of us that we fail is ourselves. The only person that can say whether we're successful or not, because that's a big, broad spectrum of success. Success for me is not the same as it's success for you or the next person. It's a broad range. It's a very gray area.
Mm-hmm.
So my successful is not going to be somebody else's successful. Somebody else's successful is probably not going to be mine. Yet it all works. And
Yeah.
we can only tell ourselves we fail, first of all. And fail is just another acronym for first attempt in learning, you know? And as long as we keep learning, as long as, like you said at the beginning, as long as we remain open to whatever we're going through, as long as we remain open to learning, we're going to be, in our own individual eyes, successful.
Yeah, it's all about learning and growth. That's, I mean, we're all out here having a human experience. It's going to look different for everybody, but just try to be the best version of yourself that you can be, because that's all that you really have any control over. At the end of the day, it is yourself, and what do you want to look like today? What kind of person do you want to be? And I just want to be a loving, caring, beautiful inside and out person that loves and supports other people. And I genuinely mean that. Like, I know words are just words, but like, I feel that so deeply. I just want to be the best version of myself. That's all I can do.
So going forward, what does the future hold for Taylor?
So I started back in school,
For
um,
what?
natural resource management.
That is awesome. That's a good one.
I wanted to be a
Water.
meteorologist so bad, but I can't
Yeah.
do math, so
Jeez.
I had to
They
choose.
got AI and calculators.
Yeah, but for while you're in school, you gotta do lots of math to be a meteorologist, and I was just not making it. That's probably why my GPA sunk because I was just getting so overwhelmed. I was like, plus I have small children. Um, my husband came with two kids. I came with one. Our littles are only 8 months apart, and they're
Wow.
7. And the oldest is about to be 15. So I mean, she's kind of doing her own thing now that she's in high school. But like the past
Babysitter.
few the past few years of me trying to go to school, I was also a stay-at-home mom.
Yeah.
So it was just like mentally draining. And now I know, okay, I'm going to get my schoolwork done while the girls are at school. That way I don't have to worry about juggling anything. Like, it's just learning from those failures in the past, and like, what does that look like now? And I'm only taking one class right now, because it's like a short semester, the last 8 weeks. But in January, I start back full time, and I'm a little nervous, but I know that I can do it. Like, I went to school full time with a baby and achieved a 3.8 GPA. So it's like, I can do it. I just have to like make myself do it.
Yeah. It's the motivation behind it.
The motivation. But I also recently got back on my ADHD medicine, and it's like the lights are back on, and I don't feel so stuck, because that's what I've been feeling that lately, is like kind of spinning my wheels.
Right.
And it's just one of those things of self-care, taking care of myself. Just go get back on the freaking meds. Like, it's not that
Right.
big of a deal.
You know,
Um,
so what I continue, go ahead, continue. Tell me what the future still holds for you.
oh, um, I think I want a job in like the oil field as like an environmental scientist. Um, and I'm still running a tattoo shop with my husband. We have a Halloween event coming up this weekend. They did some really cool flash for it.
Nice.
Um, just trying to be more active in my shop because in the tattoo industry, like if you're not a tattooer or a piercer, then like you don't, it's not like you don't fit in. It's just like you're an other. And I let someone get in my head about that who was just like not a good person to her core, but I let her get in my head and like drag me down a little bit. Because I do deal with, I have major depressive disorder, um, and anxiety, and um, I've just been like on a roller coaster of emotions, and luckily today I can just work through them and not drink over them. A few like last month, I think I got to a point where I was suicidal and very seriously contemplating taking my life.
Mm.
Luckily, for me, my daughter was my reason to stay. I was like, who's gonna take care of her and love her the way that I do? We haven't heard from her dad in 4 months. Um, so it's just for me moving forward, my future looks like just figuring out self care techniques that work for me because self care often feels like a chore to me because I already have so much going on all the time. Like, even if it's like a relaxing thing, it just feels like a chore. It's something else I have to do.
Well, you got my number. I know you just recently got it not too long ago, but you still could have got a hold of me.
I know. And I didn't reach out to anybody
I
when I
know.
was
I
feeling
know.
like,
Uh, the people that feel like that rarely do, so it's not an uncommon thing to go through that feelings alone. And
mhm.
sometimes we've got to have better friends, Jason, to reach out and talk to our other people.
I'm just horrible at reaching out in general. I
Me,
think we just
me
get wrapped up in our own lives. And it's not that we don't love our people,
no,
it's just we have our own, we're adults. We all have our own lives, right? And that's another thing that I've had to really come to terms with. Like, I can get in those like pity moments of the like, oh, well, my friends never reach out to me. So why
yeah,
should I reach out to them?
right,
Like, and it's like, okay, show some grace. Like, you haven't reached out because you have your own shit going on. So show grace.
right, exactly. And it really sucks, because especially when you get in those depressive modes, it's like, no, fucking see how much I really cared. None of my friends ever want to reach out, talk to me. Blah 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 blah.
Like, let
Both
me make
the
this
lies
work.
we tell ourselves. The
Yeah.
lies we tell ourselves. We're very narcissistic people in our own heads. Our minds are narcissists because we tell ourselves lies and then blame it on ourselves, you know,
Hmm.
and make us the problem, instead of the other way around. Whatever the case may be, the problem's the problem. It doesn't
Yeah.
matter what the
Find a
problem is.
solution for it
Find a
instead
solution.
of like self deprecating thoughts.
Yeah.
Like,
Quit being stuck in the fucking shit and start climbing out of it,
hmm,
you know? And when we get I get them too, it's like, eh, screw this shit. I don't want to do this no more. And I validate that because nobody else tells me not to do it.
hmm,
Nobody will tell me, Jay, you should probably do this. Why? What happened to you? Where'd you go? Or any of the other bullshit that goes along with it. And I can justify it and validate it because nobody did that.
right.
Yeah, it's
Because other
stupid.
people aren't doing what I want them to do.
Yeah, it's
So,
stupid. It's stupid how our minds play tricks on us like that.
hmm, Yeah, I mean, I you know how I said that I've always felt like the black sheep, like no matter where I'm at. So like in that moment when I was suicidal and I was like, nobody's noticed in the TikTok community that I haven't been there for like 2 weeks, like, oh, woe is me. Like nobody's checked on me. And they always say, well, we notice if people aren't here and we check on them. And I'm like, nobody, nobody reached out. Like I just, again, felt like the black sheep in that moment. And it's just like dragging me further down, like allowing it to drag me down because I'm stuck in my head. And
Yep.
luckily, I was able to get out of my head and work through it. But life, it
It
just keeps
does.
happening, and we have to accept it on life's terms.
You're absolutely correct about that. So today, if you're to talk to anybody that, if anybody's out there listening, and you could get one message across, if they want one takeaway from this whole hour and a half conversation we've had, what would it be?
Um, if you are struggling with a substance or with a behavior, just recognize that you don't have to continue living that way. There are so many things that you can do to better yourself. Um, whether you're in active addiction and you need a program, or you just need someone else to talk to about your feelings, like don't try to go through life alone. Even when you feel alone, like you're not. There are people in your life that love you, even if you're not able to see it in that moment. Reach out. Don't do it alone. Um, find something that works for you to help you find a solution to the problem. Work on yourself, heal yourself, love yourself. Because at the end of the day, it's not all you have, but you know what I'm trying to say. Like you're the most important thing out, even though there's all these other things that are going on.
You can't help anybody else unless you help yourself. You can't be there for anybody else unless you show up there for yourself. You've
Hmm.
got to show up for yourself first before you can ever show up for anybody else.
Yeah, and like listen for similarities instead of differences. Go into recovery or healing with an open heart and an open mind, and listen to those similarities. Okay, what could be the same here? Um and then listen to the tools that other people are talking about that they have that work for them, and see if maybe some of those tools help you as well. Um it's just all about keeping my side of the street clean today in all
Absolutely.
interactions. Like, I'm not going to do it perfectly, but I am going to check and see, okay, is my side of the street clean?
Right. And as long as you know in your heart that you're doing the right thing, who cares who's judging you for whatever you're doing?
Yeah, be the
They
villain
need
in
to,
someone else's story.
yeah,
That's fine. As long as your side of the street is clean, there's nothing for you to try to fix or try to get someone to change their mind. Like, I don't have to do that today. If my side of the street's clean, that's it.
that's a plain and simple fact right there. Another thing is, I just, there goes that squirrel,
Mhm.
damn squirrels and ducks. And I just had this brilliant thought and then it just fleeted because I looked at my Red Bull can.
No, that's the worst.
It is, and Red Bull freaking watermelon is my go-to now because it used to be the blueberry, but now it's watermelon. That shit is good.
That one is a good one.
It is. It really is. It's like Jolly Rancher candy.
Yeah. I'm sure whatever you were going to say was going to be prolific.
It very, very enlightening, very like Zen, and it was just going to be, it had have been the next viral saying of the year, and now it's gone.
That's okay. It happens to all of us.
Taylor, thank you for coming on the show. This is going to be a two-parter, so it's going to be split up into two parts. You're going to be the first episode of season 2.
How exciting! Thank you so much for having me. Seriously, I have missed your TikTok lives. That was like a great source of recovery for me. I miss you. I think that you have done so much in the year and some change that you have been clean. And I'm so proud of you because in the beginning for me, it was just about getting myself right. But you've done so much for so many people and it shows. And we love and appreciate you so much for what you do. Even now that we're here instead of there, um, it's still great. And I'm proud of you.
Well, I appreciate that. You're about to make me cry. And because I feel the same thing about you too, Taylor. You're fucking awesome. You're an amazing individual. I've always said this. You've always been worth it. And like I said, I'm just happy to have you in my life. I'm happy to have you as one of my people.
Thanks, man. I'm glad you're one of my people too. I don't know how I found your page, but I'm so glad I did.
Hey, it's got a God coincidence or something like that. God coincidence. Nothing's coincidence, but
A
it's
little
God
bit.
incidence.
Yeah,
All
and
right,
he does
Taylor.
in our lives when we need them, and I'm
He
thankful.
does. And you know what? I am so thankful for my recovery, for the people in my recovery, the people in my life now, and God. So give me a grateful. And before we get out of here, what are you 3 gratefuls, real quick?
I am so grateful to be on this podcast today. It's always healing to tell your story and um, kind of revisit like what works for you. And sometimes we forget, or I forget what works for me. So I'm super grateful for the opportunity to be here and to share. Um, I hope that I help at least one person. That's always my goal. Um, I am grateful that my sobriety birthday is coming up because I get so excited. I love it so much. I'm like, fuck yeah, no more booze. Um, and I am grateful for my family today. They're such, like, my husband is such a huge support system in my life regarding my sobriety because he got sober 2 weeks after I did.
That's
And
awesome.
so we're doing this together, and I am so grateful for that.
That's the ticket right there. I'm Jay. Keep rocking your recovery. Thank you, Taylor. I will talk to you later all the time. And keep rocking your recovery. Until next time, rock that recovery.
Bye.